Are you close to burnout? Are you so busy in the doing of your life that you have actually forgotten how to live your life? Well, today in this video, I want to show you a fun way to reconnect with your sparkle, to find your passion again that so easily gets forgotten in the chaos of adulting life. And then I placed in her leather-gloved hand a whip. And she looked at this whip, her cheeks went red, but you could see that sparkle in her eye. And I said to her, now take that whip and I want you to grip it really tight. I want you to stand up really tall. I want you to lift it above your head and then crack it on the ground as loud as you can. The reason why life feels so exhausting sometimes is because we've forgotten how to give space to the things that recharge us, that we can plug in and let our batteries refill. And one of these things is play. And play gets disregarded when we are an adult, or even we're told it's time to grow up now and give away those passions and those hobbies and those silly time-wasting things that you used to do because there's more important adulting things to do. Well, the irony of that is when we give up these things, our light starts to go out. And we start to feel empty inside. And there have been so many studies to back this up. It's not just me going on about it. It's actually a thing. They found that when adults who are experiencing burnout reintroduce elements of play into their life, it really helps to lower their cortisol levels and bring up that feel-good dopamine, which then really helps them to feel energized, to return back to themselves, to their light source. Then that gives them the ability to make better decisions, to balance their emotions. And then they really see their whole life starting to improve, their relationships all starting to lift as well. So there is massive benefits from introducing your passion and play back into your life. A perfect example of this is one of my clients. She came to me for a one-to-one workshop, and she explained that before she was married and had kids, she was a dancer. She studied many different types of dance, and that was her big passion in life. And she had a job at one of the most famous clubs, and she was a go-go dancer. And there was one of the guests who came into that club and saw her, instantly fell in love, and then for a whole year made it his mission to pursue her until she finally gave up and then married him, fell madly in love first, and then married him. And they both decided, because of their cultural norms and their religion, it was also the thing where she would give up her job. So she did give up not only her job, but also dance altogether. And then she dedicated her life to raising their beautiful 3 children, which she did really enjoy. But she did start to feel after the 3rd child that something was missing. And then one day her husband turned around and said to her, "Why don't you sparkle anymore? Why don't you shine like the woman you used to be, that woman that I met in the nightclub?" And she took that really personally. She internalized that as her fault. And I tried to explain to her that it's not her fault. That if we use the analogy of a beautiful, exotic flower, So she was this flower in the middle of the field, wild and free and beautiful in all her glory. And then this man came and saw this flower. He was in awe of its beauty. He could not stop thinking about this flower. Wow, it drove him crazy. So, like most humans, they think, I want to take that flower and have it for myself. So he went and cut off that stalk, took that flower home, put it in a vase and put it on his table so he could admire it every day and have it for himself. But what happens to the flower when it's taken out of the soil it needs, of the environment it needs to thrive? Sure, it stays beautiful and healthy and vibrant for a little while, but then it starts to slowly fade and wilt and wither, and then the beauty that it once was is not anymore. So I tried to explain to her that all she needs to do is reconnect with this soil, this particular thing that really makes her grow, makes her open up, makes her feel alive, makes her feel vibrant. And even though now she's a wife and a mother, to try to still create space for this thing that she loves. Because what is life when we're denying the life force that gives us light? And there is always a way to find balance. It was just about her finding the confidence to try and do this, to try and push back to the strict structures that her life had set up around her that did not give her space to reconnect with her passion. So in the workshop, we were trying to decide what she wanted to explore. And she kept referring to what her husband preferred and what her husband liked her to wear. And especially when we were talking about her looking feminine and sexy and empowered, it was always in through the eyes of what her husband prefers. So I said to her, look, okay, this is okay. I mean, of course, it's great to dress up for our lover and know that they're really going to enjoy that. But what's also really important is we try to shut out all the noise from the outside and go in and ask ourselves, what do I want to wear? What do I think is sexy? If no one is going to see this, if my husband is not going to see this, what do I want to create? And let's spend half of the lesson thinking about what you want to create. And then if you want to, at the end, we can incorporate it with what you think your husband likes. And she was happy with that middle ground. So we were deciding what kind of alter ego she wanted to embody. And when I brought out my costume of the femme fatale, the dark feminine goddess energy, I saw a little sparkle in her eyes and she was all like, ooh. So I said, let's do this one, shall we? And she was, you know, when someone's like, oh no, I couldn't possibly do that. But you really see that they're so drawn and attracted to this. So I just said, come on, you can do it. So she put on this black, flowing, elegant gown, my black leather gloves. I chose a dramatic piece of music and I made a really fierce, strong, sexy choreography. And before I put the music on, I told her to stand as though she's expanding to be 3 times the size that she really is. That we have our body, but when we expand, we can have an energy field around us as well that can project this power. So when she walks in the room, everyone knows that the queen has arrived. So we got into this posture and power. And then I placed in her leather-gloved hand a whip. And she looked at this whip. Her cheeks went red, but you could see that sparkle in her eye. And I said to her, now take that whip and I want you to grip it really tight. I want you to stand up really tall. I want you to lift it above your head and then crack it on the ground as loud as you can so the neighbors 3 blocks away can hear it. And she cracked it a little bit and I said, oh, no, you're going to do that even louder. And then she really cracked it. I mean, so loud it even gave me a fright. And it gave her a fright as well. But I could see the adrenaline rush through her body and ignite. And I could see the aliveness just starting to rush through her veins. And then I put this dramatic piece of music on, and wow, that performance was incredibly powerful. And when we finished, she turned around to me and she said, can we do that again? So this is an example of, you know, when we create these spaces of play and perhaps even step outside of the norm of our everyday life and allow ourselves to be a little bit silly, we can really explore other parts of ourselves that want to come through and teach us something. For that lesson and that choreography, she said, made her feel so much more confident going back into her life, back into her relationships with her husband, her family, to try and make space for the passion that is so important to her that she knows she can no longer live without. And if you are curious about exploring a different part of you, creating a new alter ego that you can embody to bring those playful elements to your life, to dress up, to find your new presence, posture, power, sparkle, I make a workshop called Alter Ego Activation, and it's every other Friday, and the link is below, so check it out and I would love to see you there. Now my question to you is, what playful activity that is just for you could you introduce to your schedule in the coming weeks that you dedicate to this one playful activity that reconnects you with your inner child, that makes you giggle a little bit, that perhaps even is a little bit difficult in the beginning because you have to step out of your comfort zone that you've set for yourself in your adulting life. Then when you're doing this thing, it creates that joy that I know you have inside you. I hope this video can help just make this heavy feeling of burnout just seem a little bit lighter and brighter, because I know you've got that spark inside you and I can't wait to see it come to life.